Welcome, my dear friends, to the 132nd episode of Living Without Fear. I'm Esther Buerki, your host from Switzerland, and I'm so grateful you're here with me, listening with an open heart and a curious mind. Every week, I share a piece of my own story, not because it's extraordinary, but because it's deeply human. And today I want to talk about something that has followed me all my life. The invisible role I took on as a child, the strong one. When I was little, I often felt that my younger brother was the favorite. He was 4 years younger, smaller, and more fragile. At least, that's what my parents believed. I remember so clearly how, when we sat at the table and shared food, he always seemed to get a bit more. And when I complained, my parents would say, "He needs it more, Esther. He's growing. You are the strong one." And so I learned early what that meant. Being the strong one meant not needing too much. It meant being patient. It meant understanding when others got more food, more attention, more care. It meant that my tears were less urgent, my pain less visible, my needs less important. And as a child, you can't really argue with that. You just accept it. You swallow it. You turn it into silence. You start believing that maybe love is something you have to earn by being good, calm, helpful, or mature. When my brother did something wrong, he got away with it. He's still little, they would say. But when I made a mistake, I could feel their disappointment so much stronger. And little by little, I began to build my identity around this idea that I had to be the reliable one, the one who doesn't complain, the one who carries the weight gracefully. And yet, deep down, I longed for fairness. I longed to be seen, to be told, "You did great too. You deserve just as much." But those words rarely came. And so I became strong, not because I wanted to, but because no one gave me another choice. Even today, decades later, this feeling sometimes comes back. My brother and I are adults now. I'm 62, he's 48, and my father is 90. And still, I sometimes notice that my father is more generous with him. Maybe he gives him more gifts or speaks to him with a softness that I don't always receive. And in those moments, I feel that same old sting inside, that quiet whisper from the little girl who says, "It's happening again." But now I understand something that I couldn't as a child. My parents didn't mean to hurt me. They simply saw my strength and mistook it for not needing as much love. They leaned on my resilience because they trusted it. They forgot that even the strong ones need to be held sometimes. That same pattern of being the strong one followed me into adulthood. After my divorce from the father of my 2 sons, when they were only 5 and 7 years old, it became my way of surviving. I had to function. I had to provide. And in that period of my life, my strength was truly a gift. It helped me stand on my own feet and it gave me a sense of pride and independence. But later, when I entered new relationships, this pattern no longer served me. I was so much in my masculine energy, always taking charge, deciding, leading, protecting, that I couldn't fully let go or allow softness. I started criticizing my partners for being too weak, for not taking initiative. But what I didn't see back then was that I had left no space for them to step in. That realization was painful but freeing. I spoke about this in more detail in an early episode called Love as a Legacy to Our Families, where I explored how hard it can be to shift from survival strength back into feminine flow. Even today, my default pattern is still to be strong, whatever happens. It's my automatic response, but I've learned that I don't always have to be. I can allow myself to be fragile, to be soft, to be cared for. It doesn't come naturally to me. In fact, I don't particularly like to be taken care of. I often have to remind myself that it's safe to lean back, to receive, to rest. And I'm still learning that being cared for doesn't make me weak. It makes me human. Sometimes I imagine sitting beside that little girl in me, the one who decided long ago that she had to be strong to be loved. And I tell her softly, you don't have to be strong all the time. You can rest, you can cry, you can take up space. You are loved exactly as you are. That moment of tenderness, even if it's just in my imagination, feels like medicine to my heart. It's as if all those years of holding it together finally melt into a gentle peace. And I share this with you because I know that many of you have also been the strong ones, the older siblings, the caretakers, the quiet supporters, the ones who held it all together when no one else did. Maybe you are praised for your maturity, your independence, your kindness, but inside, maybe you were also a child who just wanted someone to say, you can lean on me. If this resonates with you, I want you to pause for a moment right now and place your hand over your heart. Take a deep breath and say to yourself quietly, I see you. I know how much you've carried, and it's okay to let go now. Let those words sink in, because you deserve to be seen too. You deserve to be nurtured, held, and loved, not for your strength, but for your softness, not for what you do, but for who you are. Sometimes the greatest act of healing is to turn toward the parts of ourselves that were overlooked and to finally say, I'm here. I won't leave you. That's how we stop repeating old pain, not by demanding others to change, but by giving ourselves what we always longed for, by becoming the parent, the friend, the safe place we once needed. So tonight, or whenever you find a quiet moment, close your eyes and imagine holding your younger self, the child who felt unseen or less loved or always responsible. Tell them what they never heard enough. You are enough. You've always been enough. And if tears come, let them. They are not weakness. They are the heart's way of releasing the old stories that no longer serve you. Because maybe, in the end, being the strong one was never about being invincible. Maybe it was about learning how deeply we all need connection and finally giving it to ourselves with the tenderness we once missed. Thank you for listening, my dear friend. If this story touched your heart and you feel ready to soften, to grow, and to become the most authentic version of yourself, I'd love to walk beside you. You can get in touch with me for a one-on-one coaching session where we work gently but powerfully on helping you release old patterns, reconnect with your heart, and step into your true self. Together, we can learn to live with more ease, more love, and more honesty, becoming a better, freer version of ourselves. So, talk to you next week.